Welcome back to another edition of the All Out NRL Fantasy Buy, Hold, Sell podcast. Bit of a different one. It's a buy round. But fantasy never sleeps, so there's plenty of buys to go through, Dor.
100%, Mick. It's great to be here. Very, very big round, this one.
It is. This is what separates the men from the children, I think, the buy rounds. It's where you start to pick up some ranks as well.
Yeah, if you're a serious fantasy player, Mick, you definitely really do pick up those ranks through these buy rounds.
I'll be honest, I was sort of screwed at the back end of last week, just going through all those injuries. But if I do it, 2 to 3 trades, I should get a full 13. What about you?
Look, I can make a couple of trades. I've currently got, like I said on the body last night, I've got 11 out of 13 at the moment. But I can make a couple of trades, potentially get rid of someone like a Ponga. I've got Kiraz and Egan, so Kiraz and Egan are probably both going for me.
Thinking about it now, I don't know how we did it last year, trying to get a full team.
Well,
just adjusting to the new rules is so much better.
Yeah, definitely. My team's looking good. If I make 2 trades there with Kiraz and Egan, then I'll be fielding a very strong 13. Depending on who
I really feel for the coaches to have Max King, Naf White. Lucas is playing, but like Haraz, who else got injured? Well, Rob Toya. Getting picked for Origin. Some people got really screwed over. They would have gone from easy 13 to probably like 8.
Yeah, 100%. There's definitely been some rough calls as well as some very unfortunate injuries as well, Mick. But yeah, the all-out team's looking good. We've got 12. Well, technically we have 14.
Yep.
But we need a middle. So
I think a lot of people
12.
do.
Yes, but we've got both Kiraz and Egan, just like my own team.
Thank God for Aaron Clark.
It's been special, brother. Aaron Clark has been an absolute gem.
Yeah, just a reminder. So this is a major buy round. And then next week, round 13, also 16, 19 will be those minor buy rounds where scoring's reduced to just 13 players, which is very handy.
Yep.
Auto emergencies apply.
Yep.
Where, some people are asking about that. Can you loop and stuff like that? Yeah.
Yeah. I think, or you forget about it, and you've got someone like, for example, if we've got a Yongi on the interchange at the moment.
Yep.
Say, I don't know, Jenkins goes down and doesn't play, then Yongi will come in.
All right. We'll start off, Dor. We'll go positions by positions. Look,
we
may not go in depth like we have the last few weeks because, quite frankly, we've been talking about these guys for multiple weeks now. In preparation for this week.
100%.
I have a good feeling All Out gained some ranks this week. We've been hovering around 11K. Quite frankly, it's embarrassing. But we'll improve.
No, that's all right. Yeah, we'll come good. Yeah. I'm almost certain of it.
Wishatakwa. We'll fly home.
We were going probably worse last year and then ended up flying home.
It's just about consistency.
100%, and we normally always make some really serious ranks through this buy round period. So
100%. All right, we'll start with the hookers. Riley Smith.
Thank God he is available.
Yeah, workhorse. Didn't go as well last week as he did the previous fortnight, but 38. I mean, he's going to get to work. He's got a good base in tackles. He'll miss a fair few. But I think a lot of people currently would have, if they don't have Riley Smith, looking for a hooker, they'd have Aaron Clark there. But I think it's very worth it getting someone like Riley Smith or another guy we're going to talk about into the hookup, and you got Aaron Clark in your mids.
Yep. Yeah, well, that's the other man, like you said, Riley Smith. Just on him firstly, look, 38 points, like you said, Mick, break even at 18. I think it's just... For him, I think he would have gone close to 50 last week if he played the full 80 minutes that he should have, but came off with that calf cork, was struggling there.
I was concerned.
Yeah, I think everyone was concerned that he'd potentially done a serious injury and was going to be out weeks, but only just a calf cork. Still no Lussick and hands there. Great news for Riley Smith. I think he'll be putting in a 40-plus performance this week.
I think Parramatta fans are happy about that. They
100%.
finally got a hooker that's just secured his jersey instead of that stupid gauntlet that happened last year.
And not that Brandon Hands is old, but he's also Riley Smith's a very young up-and-comer.
He's great. Good service as well. Can pass the ball good distance. Now, Dor, would you rather Riley Smith or Jazz Tevaga? Because I'm thinking about it, Jazz plays that round 15 bye, which overall I think you should probably prioritise, if you're 50-50, the guys who are playing round 15.
It's just it's a tough one. I've got Jazz, but as I said just before, I need either a hooker or a middle for my for my team. So I've already got my boy Aaron Clark. So I could just go straight move we'll keep Jazz, but then I'd have 3 hookers. I'd have Jazz,
good depth,
Aaron
brother.
Clark, and
It's great depth.
and Riley Smith as well. But yeah, it's tough because
Like,
Riley Smith.
what's his role? What's Jazz's role?
Well,
with Gerbo out, do you think he's just got that lock jersey?
I do. I really do think that Jazz keeps that lock jersey. I think he's playing around 50, 60 minutes.
Break even a 7, up against Parramatta.
Yeah. It's just what I know from Riley Smith is that he's going to be playing 80 minutes every week is what I've seen the last couple of weeks. I know people were really worried about that. And when we said that he was a buy a few weeks ago, they were like, oh, Hands and Lussick are coming back. He's not going to continue that 80-minute role, but he has.
I think Jazz playing 50 minutes would rival or even score better than Riley Smith. Like, he averages 58 at lock when playing over 50 minutes.
I think with the return,
that's the issue, though.
The return of Lachlan Croker as well this weekend, Mick, for Manly, I think that means that Jazz is going to be playing more so in that middle lock role, and he definitely scores better in that role rather than playing at the hooker position.
Well, how many minutes did he play last week?
Jazz Tevaga. Look, he went off with the HIA, remember?
Yeah. And then round 8, he played 70.
Yeah, look, he's
just
played
missed 6 tackles and had a
49 minutes in round 10 against Cronulla, 70, like you said, in round 8 against Penrith, and then round 11 against the Cowboys, he scored 54 and played 58 minutes, so last week. So, look, I think he's going to be playing something similar this week in that 50 to 60-minute range. And I think that, this is the week to get Jazz.
I think you go Riley if you want the security, you want the minutes, you just want the safe pick. But Jazz got a bit more upside, I think. If he gets the strong minutes, he could go off. Yeah, it's up to you. And he plays round 15. All right, Aaron Clark, really short one. If you don't have him, I think he might be must-have. Like, I don't think that he is must-have. Just that dual position. He had a bit of an injury concern, and he still played 70 minutes.
Yeah, I think
Fisher Harris out this week.
Went off. Yeah, as I said on the potty yesterday, I'm expecting a really good performance from Aaron Clark. I've got the C on him this week.
I was about to say, I'll throw that out there. I think he might be the safest C.
Yeah, so I'm going with that, and I reckon he plays around 60, 70 minutes again. So he should be on for he basically goes at a point a minute, so he's going to get around the same amount of points.
We've discussed this at length. Middles Dor. AFB, the most traded in guy this week.
Interesting.
Out of all the middles, do you think is he the one you're targeting or would target? His minutes have been up and down. His scoring's been pretty inconsistent.
Yeah, it's just his minutes.
I think he could go on a run.
Yeah, he definitely last week benefited from the injuries there. They had Ramian go off with that eye injury, and then they had Stone Street do his syndesmosis as well. So for me, think that he could go on a bit of a run, but I'm a bit hesitant. I really don't like the minutes for Fonua-Blake's.
It's been weird.
Been playing.
Like, he played 67, because that injury. 51 the week before, 43.
Yeah. It's just very inconsistent, and the scoring is basically, paying for someone that's $708K to be getting such.
He won't play next week, which is annoying, but he'll play round 15, and he's got in round 14 up against his old team, the Wars. He could really lift for that. All hypothetical, of course.
Yeah. It's really tough, Mick, because as I said just before, I do need a middle, but.
Well, would you rather, if you don't have Tapine, that's an easy one. He's the next guy. You'd probably rather Tapine, he's safer.
Yeah. I do like Tapine, but his minutes last week weren't great either. He didn't play the minutes that he had been the last
Still
few.
went quite well. I think AFB is
100%.
the second, if you don't include Aaron Clark, I think he's the second best option.
Yeah. He's gonna stay around that price. He's not gonna lose it. You might have a couple of like high 30s, low 40 performances in there, but you've got the upside there of around like an 80-point performance like last week.
Next guy, Jackie Williams, very underrated, mind you.
Yes.
Good leg speed. Get him an
good.
Origin jersey.
Oh, I don't know about Origin jersey, but
I
he's
just
been very
think
good.
his role is going to gradually increase because I think they've started to realise he's him. He had that line break. You would have gotten a few points. He got 62. It's a pod option. Got that duel. Not so sure about it, though.
For me personally, I'm not going there.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I just think
we do like
now
a pod on this podcast, though.
We do, and there will be some more to come. But for me, look, he's not playing on the edge. That's where he did his damage on the weekend. And Kelma Tuilagi is back for Para this week, and he's back on the edge with Katoa. I think that Williams goes back into that middle role, and I'm yet to see him really flourish in that middle position there, fantasy wise. So look, he's doing a great job IRL, but fantasy wise, he really killed it when he went out onto that edge on the weekend. So
we can move on from that. Yeah, he's definitely. If you look at his scoring, I agree with that. He was named at prop, but did he go out to the edge?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they had Matt Dory.
And the week before, he played 54 minutes, 36, 41, 30. So you're right.
Yeah.
His scoring's been more consistent. His minutes been better on the edge. Next guy, we'll touch on him quickly. We sold him. Frustrating. What? How's he not gotten picked for Origin?
I do not
full
know.
respect to Trent Liero. He's a solid player for a great team. Really, I think Red Dog offers a bit more.
I just think Red Dog, in my opinion, offers more to what we need on the bench for the Maroons. I feel like we've only got
who's our
Lindsay.
bench ball player? Do we need one? Carrigan's playing good minutes.
Well, you've got Dearden.
Cotter's fine.
You got Dearden. You got Cotter.
I just think we needed that offloading punch.
See, Liero can offload as well, and he's probably the better ball player. But for me, I just feel like we need the bigger body. We need that guy who can, tuck it under his wing and make those post-contact meters. Yeah. It's not saying Liero can't. I just think with the team that we've got,
I'm fully prepared to apologise to Trent.
Yeah, well, he played well last week for the Storm.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's horrible.
He's solid. He defines solid, but Corey Horse was great.
Yeah, I'd just rather Horsburgh, but let's not go on too much of a tangent.
Would you buy him back if you sold him? He's so consistent. He's getting in that 50s. It's it's
very
annoying.
Consistent, but
it's annoying that you sold him, but you had your logic to sell him, but there's sound logic to get him back based on his scoring.
Yeah, but in my opinion, no.
I just think he's behind those other guys we talked about.
Not even that. I just feel like you'd hate to buy him back. Queensland lose next Wednesday night at Suncorp, and then he's straight back in, and you've got him in. And he's not going to play the next two games. So for me, I just would rather go.
15.
Yeah. For me, I'd just rather go like a Fonua-Blake.
Okay, that's fair enough. We'll go on to the last guy, Lindsay Smith.
Yep.
Consistent.
Playing lock this week.
Likes a late 40 score, which you'll take. Playing lock, I think he churns out a big score this weekend, but he'll probably go back down to earth once Isaiah's back.
Yeah, I wouldn't say down to earth. He's averaging
not down to earth, but back to his
52.5. It's just probably scoring. Just below the top echelon of middles.
Yep.
Where, for me, now that I think of it, I think actually I was a bit sort of hesitant about Fonua-Blake, but I just think he is probably he plays this one and the next 13 or 12, and 15, the next two major buy rounds. I think that's huge. Like you said, he doesn't play round 13, but he then versus his old team in the Waz in 14. And then I think you've got it's the Dragons in round 15. So,
yeah. He's only played once at lock, 80 minutes. It was round 13 last year. Would have been Origin, 62 points.
Yeah. Yeah, so I
think he's going to go very well.
Well, now that I think of it, I just think, Fonua-Blake's a good option. He's the one.
Edges... Zach Hosking, I really don't want to talk about him much. We know his role.
I think
I thought it'd be 80. I think he can bump up to 80.
He'll bump up to 80 this week with no...
I think he makes like 100K more than what he's at now. He could be a keeper for the next 10 weeks.
Yeah. I just
Pretty
think
easy
with
one.
Hudson Young, Origin, I think they could roll reverse. I think Hudson Young could then go back to like a 60, 70-minute role that
Yeah.
Hosking has got on the weekend, and then he ends up playing 80 just with the origin and backing up and whatnot. So
Yeah, he's
great option.
he's great to
great
get.
option.
Won't tell anyone not to. KPP, same thing.
Yeah, we
Night
said a
schedule
couple.
is just
Brilliant.
beautiful.
Play till round
Night
18.
suck, but doesn't really impact his scoring that
Mate,
much.
it does not impact Pearce-Paul's scoring
He
at
struggles
all.
to find the try line, KPP. I
Right.
think that's a service, though. Because respectfully, if you're outside Gamble,
And
Cogger, you may not be scoring that many tries.
For me, I just think it's outstanding. You got 58 points in 70 minutes. He had the sin bin, outstanding. They're not scoring points, and he's still churning out
He's
huge
still
scores.
a decent pod as well. You know who else's pod, Dor?
Yep.
Kikau.
Yeah, we did touch on him last week. Pearce-Paul's in 3.8%, by the way.
I'd probably rather KPP over Kikau. I think
So do I.
he's way safer. Like his scoring. Kikau got, 50 with the try? I don't know.
I still like Kikau.
I think he's fine. He's
Kikau's a
definitely
great
improved
option.
his base.
They've got a great buy schedule. It's only not good if you have an Origin Bulldog player, so your likes of your Max King and Stephen Crichtons. But for me, they play all the major buy rounds. The Doggies, they got Rabbitohs in round 15, Dolphins this week, I believe.
Yep.
On the tomorrow night. So yeah, I love Kikau. I think he's a good option.
Olakau'atu, Dor, where you have him in the all-out team, he probably scoring those big ones less than we expected.
But I think that's due also to Manly's form of late.
Yeah.
They haven't been really performing well, and he's still getting like solid 40 scores. So I don't hate it. I think that with Origin, that's the only worry. But I don't
Yeah, it's a
think
big worry, I
he's
think.
really set the world on fire. But,
if he doesn't, they play the round 15 against Titans.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get picked again,
you're just hoping New South Wales, I reckon, win in round
Yeah.
one and in game one, should I say, not round one. And they're probably not going to change their team unless some injuries occur, and then he won't be in the team. So for me, I actually think that Pearce-Paul is the best player out of that.
I think all of those guys are valid. Like
100%, all really good options.
Yep. Into the halves, Matt Burton.
I think he's
Definitely bottomed out in price. He had that HIA, which really ruined his score.
Injury as well.
Another injury as well. He's bottomed out. We know what he's done in the past. He's probably like a late 40s average guy, maybe around 50. Goodbye.
I just think
Best team in the comp.
I think the biggest thing for Burton, Mick, Cord and I sort of touched on it a bit yesterday, is just his kick meters. So his kick
Sexton's
meters
taken over, yeah.
No, well, it's more. Well, he had, but now Burton.
Oh, really?
Has
It's gone back up.
Yeah, Burton has dominated the kick meters. He had 406 2 weeks ago, and then he had 545 on the weekend. I'm pretty sure Sexton only had about like 50.
I think that
meters.
was definitely a big game plan to kick to Marky Mark. Give it to Burton, kick to Marky Mark, which worked 6 times.
Goal kicks. As I said, Bulldogs players that don't play Origin, absolutely unreal. Doesn't play next week, but like you said, Mick, I think he's bottomed out, and he is, in my opinion, one of the best options to get into your team this week.
Yeah, the Doggies missed 2 of the next 5 weeks,
but they play all the majors.
They play the important 2 games.
Yeah, they play all the major buy rounds, and for me, if you're holding on to the
He's
likes
got a few.
of Cleary,
He's got a
that's
few
huge.
20s sprinkled in there, but he sort of makes up for it in other weeks, getting 60s.
If I was to get Burton, I'd be getting him in as that potential third option, like have him on the bench as a third half behind, say, the likes of a Cleary, Hynes, Fogarty, sort of 2 players, potentially even this next man as well.
Nico Hynes been very consistent this year.
Yeah, just 50, 60s.
He's not scoring like he did a couple of years ago, where he's getting 70 every week and he's a captaincy choice, but you can't knock him.
No.
I think he's gaining in confidence.
100%. I do so too.
I'm probably getting him in because that Roosters team depleted, and I think Sharks put on a decent score.
Yeah, there's only Stone Street out with the syndesmosis.
Yeah.
Hiroti comes in on the wing, and I think that's about it for Cronulla. They don't have anyone out, so yeah, I think
it
could
be a cheeky captaincy option.
I'm still staying with Aaron Clark. I've got to back what I told everyone on this beautiful podcast or the TLT podcast yesterday. I'll be riding Aaron Clark into the sun.
Yeah, I don't think there's much to talk about with Nico. His
No.
worst score this year is what? 48.
Yeah. He's basically just been getting around 50, 60s every
absurd.
week. And then I think he had one like 70 or
Yeah, he got a
something like
74
that.
against
Yep.
the Rabbits with
Yep.
a try.
So, yeah. Look,
I'd probably rather this guy, though. Oh, it's very close. Is it Katoa? Like, Katoa, what did you get? 74 last week in a beaten team.
they also do play the next bye
That's
round.
what I was about to say. Like,
I think
they're much the same.
he is a very special player. Isaiah Katoa.
Clancy Nugent, good friend of the podcast, said he could be an immortal.
Oh, he could
It's a
be.
huge call, but it's like
considering
he
Penrith
engages the line so well.
Penrith were devastated when they lost him with the lovely poaching effort from the Dolphins, and he has just been unreal.
The
thus
Dolphins
far
did
this
very
season.
well.
100%, and he's looking like a player that wants to lock down that 7 jersey at Redcliffe.
Could it be an
for a long
origin
time.
player? You got Cleary there, but
Potentially.
maybe he's
He could still flourish at the 6. I think he's got a very underrated running game. Isaiah Katoa got a really good dummy. But look, fantasy wise, I
hard
think
not to talk about just footy.
he's a great option.
Mhm.
It's
Fogarty-
hard with Burton there. Fogarty's
Yeah,
a solid
I was
option.
about to
He's
say,
just like Nico Hynes.
he's like Nico. He's just consistent.
Yep.
All right. Center's Dor. KL, underrated pod.
He
Scores literally every week.
He scored every game.
I remember
he's played
last
this
year,
season.
everyone was like, his base is so good, wish he'd get a few more tries. And this year, it's just like,
Yeah, the base hasn't been as good, but the
Center's
tries
been
still keep
underrated this
coming.
year. Especially when you
been.
throw in Herbie, who's another guy who's like almost must have.
I think Herbie's definitely the best choice, but he is also the most expensive.
Yeah.
on the
I mean,
list.
he's also, it's crazy to say he's a good captain this week and he's a center.
Yeah.
Sort of unheard of.
Well, they're versing a very
Someone
depleted
I heard
Dogs
this
team.
week said Herbie's not a top 5 center. I think that's ridiculous. I think he could be number 1.
No.
Would he play Origin?
Yeah. Yep.
He'd play for us. Would he play for them? Maybe not over Stephen Crichton. He probably would.
Probably with how Latrell's played the last couple of weeks and how Stephen Crichton has, probably not.
Rob Toy did sort of cook Herbie a couple of weeks ago.
Toy's been great. I'm not saying that, but I just think like Herbie has done it consistently, being one of the
Like
top
he's
centers in the
intangible with
game.
his workload, and he also is starting to get those attacking stats like the last few weeks, especially scoring tries.
I know it's a bit of an argument, is he the best center in the game? But for me, I think there's no argument in saying he's a top 3 center in the game.
Oh, no,
at the
easily.
moment. No.
Ruben Garrick.
He bounced back. It was an insipid game.
I do
last
think
week.
Manly really go on a nice little run. Like they got DC out, but if Turbo goes back to his best, which is an
Still
out-there
goal
call,
kicking.
yeah, I think he's consistent. All those guys, KL, Ruben, Herbie, they're your top 3.
Yeah, well, it's just like, if you can't afford Herbie, then you can go for someone like a Garrick or a Euro if you need a center.
And
Simple
KL's
as
probably
that.
the pod of those 3.
100%.
Wing of fullbacks, Teddy. There was a chance he could play Origin. I'm more scared of Teddy at the back at the back than Deadwoods. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, well, with how it's
But in
going
terms of
this season,
fantasy, yeah, I think he's a good option.
I think he's the buy of the week.
Oh,
I think if you've got Kiraz, it's very tough not to say just go straight from Kiraz to Tedesco.
yeah.
If
I'm
you
struggling
need
not to just do that trade.
if you need a wing fullback, it's basically
They play round
Kiraz.
15.
They play round 15. Just with, I really do, as a Queenslander, I really hope we win. But if you just look at the team on paper, I'm not trying to be a bias at all. New South Wales have definitely got the better team on paper, and that's no
Yeah, you could say that.
bullshit.
Many years, yeah.
Yeah, that's no bullshit or anything like that. That's just straight to the point. I think they've got a better list. That doesn't mean that we can show up with a bit more heart on Wednesday night
We
next
always
week
will.
and put a absolutely spellbinding performance
I'm
on.
wearing bluey. I'm going to cover this up.
But yeah, for me, no. Tedesco, I think, is the guy. He's the guy to get in.
Turbo, awful. He was awful.
I don't think I've seen him pull a turbo. I actually am.
I don't want to use it starts with W, the wash term.
Well,
He's carrying an injury. He's not washed, like some people are saying.
no, he's not washed. He's just.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah,
He's clearly not 100%.
100%. Like that is, I believe.
But I feel like we
so.
say that way too often with him.
I've
it's
just
just
never
like-
seen him, but like it just doesn't look right, Mick.
They
But
won as well. That's the crazy thing. It's not
But-
as if they got he just couldn't get a stat. like attacking stats.
Yeah, I'm not getting him in myself.
No.
Not with a 65 break even.
It reminds me of Walsh earlier in season. It's just like, just wait until they put a good score up.
Yeah, I think he could go well this week.
It's not worth trying to like throw a dart and hitting that good score they get, because at the moment, it's worth just waiting.
Well, look, if he gets a 40, for example, which is not a bad score, he loses 28K. So you can get him for that's
crazy. This is the weirdest year of fantasy in terms of fullbacks.
He could actually get down to under 400K, which I just think is absolutely...
If you said at the start of the year, Callum Ponga would be about 500K, going terribly, Turbo 450, dropping,
Turbo
terrible.
Could, after this week, nearly have lost 300.
Who else?
300K.
Reece Walsh, 450, 400K.
Jerome Hughes is another one, not the wing fullback, but he's lost a heap of money too. There's actually been some real fallers, but look, we're getting a bit off topic.
Addo-Carr is going better than fucking Turbo and Ponga.
Addo-Carr is,
and he's the next guy.
If you want pot of the week, I don't know.
I'm not doing it. I think Parramatta go back to their ways without Moses, and so does Addo-Carr.
Yeah,
throw that out there.
I just think
I expect a 30. Quote me.
30? Yeah, okay. That's fair. I just think he's a great pot. I don't think Manly are playing very well. Only in, I think, like 2% of teams. It could have increased after, it's gone up a couple of percent after I mentioned it yesterday.
Dor's got influence, eh?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, Addo-Carr, look, he's only scored in one of these games the last like month or so, but he's still getting like 50 points plus, like, actually, he scored in 2. So against the Dragons, not the Dragons, sorry, the Tigers and Sharks, should I say, in round 7 and 9, he got a double in both those games. But then the last 2 weeks against Dolphins and Newcastle hasn't scored and got 59 and 50. So I really do think he is criminally underrated fantasy-wise at the moment.
I agree. That's hard to disagree with.
Yeah, it's a bit of risk involved without Moses.
You need to have big balls to do it.
Yep.
All right, Marky Mark. That was a special watch. It was
one of the tries.
One of the great hot and cold games. 6 errors. One of the great tries of all time. I mean, we got him 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, we
held him. He's going great. I think he's still a good buy.
Do you think that his scores get slightly affected this week with moving to the centres?
I was going to say the same thing for Teddy. I was like, the Roosters missing so many players. I don't think the Roosters are going to go that well. I think Teddy is a bit matchup proof, where I think Teddy's going to be fine, get through his work. I do worry about Marky Mark though.
Okay. Yeah.
Back at centre as well. Like, his scoring he'll be fine.
He'll be fine. He should still get, I reckon, a solid like 30, 40 points.
But out of those guys, I do worry about them generating points maybe.
I just think out of all those names that we've listed, pardon me, for wing fullback, I think Tedesco is just the out and out. Like you said, it doesn't matter who he's versing. He's going to get his hands on the ball and absolutely try his bloody ass off to try and get the win. And
one thing I'm sick of with Marky Mark, every time he does something good, Brandy in the commentaries, like, he's almost implying he's like shocked how well he's going because he's a Union convert. It's like, he's played league until he's 14-1, and he was doing the same stuff in Union for the Wallabies, like freakish stuff.
Yeah.
He's like, well,
it's just 7 stuff. Like, people like...
And he always brings up his, like, defensive concerns earlier in the season when he does something good. It's like, just be positive. Just keep the positive stuff, Brandy.
This could be a bit of an out there take, but I think it's
give it to me.
Not out of this realm that Marky Mark or
plays Origin
next year.
I did see that.
Yeah,
a few.
I don't think
he's special.
With there's one injury in that back line next year. I think that Marky Mark is a real shout.
Wing?
Yeah, I think he's a better winger than he is a centre.
100%.
I just think that aerial threat, even though he did drop a lot of...
it nullifies a few of,
But I just think that space that he's just so used to playing with 7s and whatnot, that space between the outside men and the touch line, I just think he flourishes on the sting. So he's great offload game. That's probably going to come back. Hopefully he can get some offload tries.
All right, we'll just go. These are guys to watch for next week. I think we'll just do a couple of sentences about each of these guys.
Yeah, we don't need to touch
my
on.
pod. Got him a couple of weeks ago. You and Aitken has been special.
Did mention
I just
in
got
the
him in.
community chat as well.
Yep, threw it in there. Got a few middle finger emojis replying back. I don't know if they were just pissed at me just saying it too late or...
Yeah, I don't know what was going on there, but yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
The concern was if he moves to centre, I think they've realised that they just need to get the best team out there in their positions. Bentley, is it Bentley?
Bentley Harpe.
He's going fine. I think he's safe playing it.
I think he stays there, and then Munro, when he returns, will come back onto the wing.
They've selected a nice little balance because Koloamatangi is the next guy.
Yeah, well, Souths are getting players back.
Koloamatangi.
So, Keon Koloamatangi is...
In the middle, he's one of the best fantasy players by far.
We saw that a couple of years ago for what maybe potentially last year when he played
by
lock.
far better in the middle than on the edge.
He's still a great edge, but yeah, in terms of what I'm seeing in the middle thus far,
so
in
good.
Like the last couple of seasons,
He had like the third most run meters for a forward ever.
Yeah,
stay with me now.
I think it was second.
Maybe that's
behind Tamalolo.
Saw on Randos.
Yeah, Rando. So I love him in the middle, but there is some concern he does go back to the edge.
I think there's concern he plays Origin. I think he's a perfect Origin bench player. Just he could play anywhere in the forward pack.
Yeah.
But
I think he's just so much
change
better
the
in the
team,
middle. And fantasy-wise, you want him playing in the middle, not on the edge.
Yep. All right, Jaden Campbell.
He's been good.
He's still top two winger fullback to get.
Yeah.
Just next week.
Average of 60, 49.
He has to do everything for that team, unfortunately.
And the Titans do play round 15 as well, Mick. So,
Humphreys.
Yeah, good option. Souths play round 15.
2 weeks ago, horrible score. Went better last week. The kick meters have clearly dropped off because Latrell's doing a lot of the kicking. But if Latrell, doesn't back up next week or he doesn't play around 15, he goes back to his usual ways, I think. And just generally coming back from a Hemi, every week he gaining confidence. I think he's going to bottom out.
And Souths are getting players back every week, so their team's only going to get better. So
I think he's a good buy next week still.
Yeah.
Hamish Stewart, training with the Blues, I saw today.
Yeah.
And
60 minutes last week.
Yeah.
He got that minute increase that we were looking for. And now with the injury to Egan.
He's really good.
Yeah, I think he's playing 50, 60 minutes.
I was watching that Red V versus Bronx performance. It was great.
It was awful.
Love my Red V.
Yes, no, great win, brother. Yeah, we were insipid. But yeah, look, 51 points. I think he had...
It's not too late to buy or anything because I think he's going to put up close to keeper scores.
Well, he's 498. I think he can get up to around like 600 and something if he keeps this roll and the minutes, which I think he definitely can.
Ezra, great performance.
I just think
I'm just thinking about last year where it's like his scores are so up and down. That could have been a peak score.
I really do think that we need to see it like for another week.
Still cheap.
He's still cheap, that's for sure. But the thing is as well with Ezra, I wanted to just mention him because the fact that, he went out there and put out an absolutely outstanding performance. But I think we've seen that from Ezra over the years where he can, on his day, put a really good performance out there. But fantasy-wise, I think he's a more like IRL sort of player. He does better, passes the eye test IRL, where in terms of fantasy-wise,
I just think at that price range, it is probably worth the punt for 80K. Break him to 16 for next week.
I just think if he's doing so well, potentially get him in like later because he doesn't play round 15 either. That's the problem with the Broncos is they don't really play those major buy rounds, the first two anyway. I think they might play. Let me just quickly check. Yeah, they play round 18. I would get here's
he
my
averaged
take.
31 last year.
Here's my take. I would actually get Ezra Mam in round 16 if he's continuing to flourish after that.
Well, there you go. All right, we'll go through the holds.
This should be nice and pretty quick.
Yeah, Cleary, top 3 player in the game.
Definitely.
I think it's definitely worth holding. If you had tons of trades, yeah.
Yeah, if you got a heap of trades, fair enough. But I think a few of us with all these injuries that are happening this season don't have that.
And that's the same for Payne Haas, in our opinion.
It's just going to struggle to get them back
with that injury.
You're just going to struggle to get someone like Payne Haas back into your side if you sell him. That's why I said another big benefit of this all is one to watch in the couple of weeks, but everyone's got him. It's just Tyrrell May. He didn't get named.
Hudson Young, obviously not as good as those two, but he's just going so well. It's just like,
he's
really
scoring
do you
tries
really want
for
to trade
fun.
him?
He is scoring tries for fun. One of the best edges in fantasy. I just really think that it's really rough to potentially trade him out.
Dylan Lucas had that shoulder injury. He's been named.
Is
It's
a bit
still
of concern.
a bit of concern in late mail because he's got the sort of similar injury to Couchman, doesn't he?
Yeah, similar injury to Couchman. So if he, I don't know if he like sort of tweaks it like Couchman.
It's just weird
did.
that he wasn't in the injury.
No, well, they said he came back and he's looking. They like
who's
better
our,
than
who's
expected.
Our,
Barry
who's our
Toohey.
yeah, Barry Toohey. Barry Toohey will get
Toohey.
us our
Barry
mail.
Toohey and NRL Physio both said that he came back on training or whatever on Monday, and the Knights were surprised with how well he looked. But that's just he's still got that injury, so it's just like one of those things that we're going to have to monitor. But I think
and it's
he's
also
back on
like,
the edge as well. That's the big thing.
He's one of the most important players in fantasy if he is playing just the night schedule, and doesn't really matter. He's scoring. He scores that well.
We need him on the edge though, Mick. He's more of a like 50 to 60 point player on the edge, whereas in the centers it's more like probably like a 35 to like 55 option sort of thing.
Bowie Firma, would you hold?
I would personally.
Who plays the first game next week?
The first game next week.
They play the second game, the Titans, against the Storm.
I just think with how the Titans going, they need to win every game.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. I'd probably hold him as well.
And Ruben Cotter's bloody starting on the edge for starters. So I don't even know. I don't even know what minutes Firma's going to get. I would assume probably around like the upwards, I'd say, of 40 minutes. I would say somewhere between that 40 to 60 minute range that Firma will play.
Billy, just please do a late mail and switch.
Just start him.
Start him.
Yeah.
Start Lindsay Collins, put Mo Fodawaker on the bench, I reckon, as well.
Yeah. On to the next man, Fisher Harris. He's just out 1 week. So if you did have Fisher Harris, he's just a hold.
Naff White, it's looking like 2 weeks. Well, he's going to be out 2 weeks anyway.
It's 3 weeks, but it's only 2 weeks that he's out because Roosters don't play next week. So
I think he's really important for round 15 and ideally hold. I do get it if people are selling, though.
Same with Wong. We've got Wong and we'll probably hold him because, he plays that round 15.
White, I do get it, though.
White, I understand selling. Wong, I think, is 100% a hold.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, easy. Fletcher Sharp, easy hold.
Yeah, back at fullback this week.
Tamale,
It'll be interesting
easy
to see how he
hold
goes.
for this week. Maybe reevaluate if he doesn't go well.
Well, I think you just reevaluate potentially after the
15.
Well, potentially after this week. I think you start to reevaluate because they don't play 15. They do play 18, but it's whether you can get someone like a Teddy or something like that into your team that's going to play those games.
Purdue, I'm personally really thinking about selling. From what I saw, I think he's, regardless if he starts to improve at half, I think he's peaked. And I really need to use someone like him to upgrade, but it's fine to hold.
Yeah, I'm holding. I can't sell someone that moves into the halves after one performance. I know it wasn't great, but for me, I've just got bigger fish to sell this week. I
really didn't get why Peyton did that. I think Clifford was going fine.
I do, but I think that they're looking to the future, and that's what Peyton's come out. That's what Peyton's come out and said.
Your resurgence earlier in the year in form, where they lost the first 3, they bring Clifford in, they immediately start winning. It's like you haven't really.
Purgie's been great at the centres, but at the end of the day, he's a half. That's what he's, played his rep football and everything.
I just think they should have done that after a couple of losses.
They probably should have just started the season with him there, to be honest. But I think it is rough because of how well he's been playing at centre. But for me, I'm giving him another week.
Sells will blast through these. Carraz gone.
Yeah,
6 weeks almost.
Yeah, I think it's like
Gilbert,
4 to 6 weeks.
Easy sell. Bradman
12
Best,
weeks.
easy sell.
Best, I think, is 3 to 6 weeks.
Egan ACL, terrible, diabolical,
sad, really sad. He's a good.
He'd already achieved. He'd already made the most money.
Yeah,
out of everyone in fantasy. He's so good.
He's just it's really sad. He's actually a really, really great bloke. I had a chat to him Magic Round, and
lovely.
It's very sad that I came in last week and there he is. Yeah, not good. wish him all the best with his recovery, and he'll be back in that red
happened
jersey
straight away.
next week.
It was a tough watch. Hubner, he plays about 40 minutes, gets 30, but it's just like
It's just that
it's time to go, blood.
He's made his money. He's
He's
not
been
really
great.
going to be making that much more. The minutes, as I just said before, South's got players coming back.
Yep.
Unfortunately,
Saifidi,
Hubner's gotta go.
one of the awful buys. For
Yeah,
anyone
well,
who got him.
We did try to let everyone know via
Buzz
the community
Rothfield
chat.
Sort of helped everyone if they reversed their trades.
Yeah, and we tried our best to.
Shout out Buzz.
We pinned it in the buy, hold, sell. We put it
Our
on
bad
the
for not
community.
like getting that out straight away, but we did.
It was basically pretty close to like an hour or two
Yeah.
after it thing. It was still plenty of time for
Shout out
everyone
Buzz
to
Rothfield for that.
realise.
Appreciate you, my guy.
so,
Unfortunate for Jacob though.
No, yes.
Stafford Toa.
Could be one to get in later in the season though.
Yeah,
Saifidi.
sure.
Mm.
Stafford Toa.
He didn't even play 80 on the weekend. Came off for Nate, and I don't know if that was just due to his first game back from injury,
so.
but I think it's time to go.
And can we just not sit? Rob Toira, we've put in there. He's going to have an absolute blinder.
He's going to have a humdinger for the Maroons. A lot of people are saying, he's unproven.
If you're a
and all
Blues
this sort of
supporter,
stuff.
I'd sell him just because you're going to get PTSD seeing his face because he's going to absolutely dominate you.
Yeah, no, I do agree, but it's just for me, I'm not even looking at that for my own team because I've got those other. I don't really want to waste a heap of trades this week just to think.
Rob went from a great hold because he scored that 90 odd and he was
against
playing
the
these
Dolphins
important
and Magic
buys, but
Round.
he got picked for Origin, so
Yeah.
it's just like
No,
Okay.
I do think he'll. They might rest him in those rounds, but Roosters don't even play next week. So that's something else you got to consider as well, that
Yeah,
Toya
that's
wouldn't even be playing next week anyway. So if you've got centre depth, I'd just hold him. Because
if you back the chosen one to be an incredible scorer for you, keep him, but find a sell.
Yeah,
That's it, Dor.
yeah, the scoring like for Toya Mick is like he's still got a low. His break even 0. So in my opinion, it's really tough to sell. I just think you're selling him if you, like you said, you're a Blues supporter. And also, if you've got no centres and he's one of them and you need to get a centre in, then, unfortunately, Toya has to go. I think Captain's Corner Mick, I've obviously come out and told everyone I'm going Aaron Clark, and I'm going to back that, ride that in with Aaron Clark. But what are you thinking in terms of captaincy? I heard you mention Nico Hynes earlier.
I think Nico against the Roosters, Tapine will go very well.
Over in New Zealand.
Herbie's
back in
a decent shout if you get some good rock. Just trying to think of others.
Katoa?
Yeah.
Or you're thinking potential? I just think Aaron Clark's the safest. I think could definitely Tedesco could go well, but for me, I from what I'm seeing this season, it's just Aaron Clark. It's just Aaron Clark, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
So
here's one. Lindsay Smith.
Lindsay Smith. Okay. Yeah, a bit of a pod. Do you have a pod of the week?
Pod of the week. It might have to be Lindsay.
Lindsay Smith.
I just think he's going to go off at lock. He'll go back to what he was scoring before, but
and could benefit potentially from Isaiah Yeo playing a few less minutes. I think Isaiah Yeo is not going to rest any of those games, but he could not play the full 80 minutes, and Lindsay Smith potentially could see a minutes increase.
There's my
that
pod of the
Origin
week, Lindsay
period.
Smith.
All right. Well, that is a great, I think, buy, hold, sell for round 12 for this first major buy round. And we will be back next week for round 13's buy, hold, and sell. We will see you then.
Catch up.